13,000 back in November when my expenses were like $1,000 a month would have been pretty nice. But now I'm spending close to 7,000 a month between marketing and having two separate offices. That 13,000 disappears pretty quick.
I appreciate your candor talking about this because you're expressing and sharing what it's like to start your practice and go through the ups and downs of starting, especially this first year. You're only 9 months in and you're feeling the pain.
I am, yeah. It is definitely harder than I expected.
Well, hello and welcome to the J. Sterling Hughes Show. My name is Jeff Hughes. I'm CEO and co-founder of Sterling Lawyers. We are a 26 attorney family law firm doing over 16 million revenue. And we've been following Tom Hartin. He's an attorney entrepreneur in Long Island who started his family law firm back in September. So we're about 9 months into following Tom through. And this has been a great quest watching Tom move through because he's been really raw with what's going on with his business. And so we're able to show kind of an inside view as to what it's like to start a family law practice. So welcome back, Tom. We're sitting here in May and we're looking at April's results.
Yep. Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me back. I noticed you updated your intro there. And I always think to ask you that, how often you update that.
Well, I've been saying 15 million, but we're actually probably going to maybe do 17 this year. So I'm a little hesitant to say 17 until we actually do it. So yeah, that's my update. So 16 is where I feel comfortable at right now. So
yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so I was real intrigued looking at your numbers for the month of April. I'd love to kind of break in that. Maybe you can kind of walk us through high level on your numbers. And by the way, if you want to, Tom's been sharing his numbers back to September. So if you want to go to jsterlinghughes.com, we've been posting his numbers there, and you can see kind of how he's done every month from the top line revenue to his bottom line profit and the expenses pulled out, all that sort of stuff. So let's look at April, Tom. And how'd you do there?
So yeah, in terms of leads, it was a slower month, 5 leads. And we were just talking offline, like tracking my actual call, like doing like call tracking from my Google business profile. So there were 14 total calls that came in, 13 calls that came in April. And 5 of those are what I am, I guess, somewhat subjectively calling a qualified lead, which is, somebody who is, it's not a spam call, not somebody looking to, pitch to me or market to me or something. And it's someone that has a family law issue in my geographic area. So that's what we're calling leads. 5 of those leads, 2 of those turned into consults, which actually is a little bit lower than usual. And part of that might have been because I was on vacation in one of those weeks of April. And then 2 consults and 1 hire for the month of April.
And then your expenses last month were?
Yeah, so my expenses, if and until I start running ads, I expect my expenses to stay pretty stagnant. So I have them listed at 6,800 total, 3,500 being for marketing and 3,300 for other expenses. I think I meant to adjust that number, but I don't remember exactly why. I think so 3,500 is what I pay Rocket Clicks. I think I should, I think this was your suggestion, count my satellite office as a marketing expense.
Yeah, well, there's different schools of thought on that. I kind of look at these satellite offices as marketing expenses to at least a portion of that because you're doing it for client convenience and to get your map listing. So, regardless, if you take that 6,800 out, you're about $6,300 net revenue last month or net profit last month.
That's correct.
And then we were talking about the delay in your revenue. So 13,000 was a great month last month, but it really reflects what you did in December and January in particular, right?
And then
the clients coming in. She had 1 client come in last month, one new sign up, 13,000 in revenue. Obviously, that 1 sign up, no revenue probably from that 1 sign up that's coming in future months.
No. Right. So yeah, you're right about that. Or if there was, it's, filing the summons and complaints. So maybe, maybe $500, definitely no significant amount of revenue from that. I mentioned offline that hire was actually that's a case that I had back in like October. We handled it for a couple months. They wound up reconciling. Actually, I remember it was like New Year's Day or the day at whatever, January 2nd, they wound up reconciling. And now here we are back in April. So that's actually a repeat client. So that has nothing to do with the two consults that were in April.
Okay. The reason why I'm pointing this out is obviously you have a delay in the revenue that you recognize from work that you did in previous months, 2, 3, 4 months back. That's pretty normal.
Yep.
And then the concern that we were both talking about was that you had 5 leads last month, 2 consults, and 1 hire. So that kind of projects out to be a cruddy August if you want to look 4 months ahead. If
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
if it's
100%.
accurate that a client sign up today pays in 4 months, it doesn't work out that smoothly, I know, but I'm just trying to be directionally analyze this where you're at directionally. So how are you feeling about this?
So I don't know. I guess I'm definitely feeling a little bit disappointed. So what we were just talking about offline is, when I started this back in, I guess August, when I really started getting things moving, the thought was obviously it takes time to build a practice. And when I was trying to project, how much time that would take, until things really started, at least until I had enough work to keep myself busy, or let's just call it one full-time attorney, whether it's, I want to go all in on the family law work, or do I want to hire somebody to take that over? And I think you had mentioned, somewhere along like 6 months, maybe 9 months, something like that, which is pretty much where I'm sitting right now. About 9 months, right, since I launched. And I guess I'm nowhere close to where I thought I would be and where I'd hope to be. I'm probably about a 1/3 of the way there, at best. And just came off of what I thought would be my busiest months, being March and April, even February, March and April. I know those tend to be really busy months for family lawyers. And yeah, my call volume was down. And then, just I guess listening to other people as well. I know you had another woman on your podcast going back a couple months, and this woman was Deirdre, and it was a great episode for anyone that hasn't listened to it. But she talked about how she started her firm and how quickly whatever, she went from 100 something thousand one year to like 750,000 the next year, and then up to whatever $2 million the next year, if I'm remembering the numbers right. And yeah, she, I don't know, worked with this company, whatever the company was, and then she had doubts, and then whatever, within days her phone started ringing, right? So, and wouldn't stop ringing basically, and she had to hire like an intake team. And so I don't know, I guess I'm hearing a lot of success stories, and in terms of doing actual work, all of my clients so far, I haven't lost a client since I started. Other than like those that have gotten back together, I haven't been fired. Let me put it that way. Client, I don't have like formal client satisfaction scores, but they all seem, they've all indicated that they were very happy. And again, most of my cases are ongoing. I've been doing a good job at getting reviews. 8 or 9 months in, I'm at 50 reviews between
That's awesome.
my two offices. All 5-star reviews. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of like a little disheartening. Like, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but the call volume is actually lower now than it was like towards the end of 2024.
Yeah. So strategically, you've started your first location in Massapequa, right?
Yes.
And your map listing is performing very well there.
Yeah, and that was strategic because it was odd to me when I started looking. So I did kind of focus on where the population, it's Long Island, so every place in Nassau County is pretty populated. They're all it's all pretty similar, at least until maybe when you start getting out further into Suffolk, things are more further spread apart. But pick a town in Nassau County, it's going to have largely same amount of houses on a block, same amount of people living there. There's not many big big apartment complexes and stuff like that, right? It's mostly single family homes, pretty small lots. So Massapequa is middle to upper middle class, as are all of its surrounding towns. And there was only like one other family lawyer practicing in the area, and I know I didn't know her at the time. I know her now. She is very good, but she focuses largely on referrals. So in terms of internet marketing, it seemed like an awesome place for me to go. So that's how I wound up in Massapequa, and it was a great choice because I think by like month 2 or month 3, I was already number 1 in the map pack. So that one jumped up pretty quick. And then my second office we opened it in Melville, which I guess it's a little bit better of a location, even though similar population. I think it is a lot closer to like major roads. It's right off like 2 major highways. Um, so I don't know, maybe strategically, I don't know. So that I opened that office in that location based on a suggestion from Rocket Clicks, who I'm working with now, and trying to funnel more reviews towards there. So even though I've only had one client, and again that happened in early May, so we haven't talked about that one yet, but gotten one client out of Melville. I have like 12 reviews there already because people that are coming from my Massapequa office, I'm asking them to review me, but hey, would you mind reviewing my Melville office, just like, because whatever, they don't really ask.
Are you sending them a link for your Melville office location?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, making it easy for them.
Yep. And so yeah, Melville has been. I only got, I think, based on my Google Business reports, like 1 call from Melville so far, and luckily that actually did turn into a client. But
and you started working on your Melville location map listing in March, right?
I believe it was February 15th.
Okay, so you've been at it about 3 months.
Yeah.
And are you seeing any traction at all on the Melville map listing?
No.
Other than this one, you had 1 call, right?
I think for divorce, I think in our last meeting with Rocket Clicks, I think for divorce lawyer, I'm like number 13 or something. Like,
okay, you're way down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that increase at all, improve at all?
I don't. I think last month might have been the first month we went over that, so I don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So you've had one. Did I hear you right? You had 1 call from Melville?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So as you're projecting and thinking ahead, how are you feeling about the direction of your lead flow? I mean,
Massapequa. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in full panic mode yet. I know Rocket Click's only been at it for 3 months, and these things do take time. I was again surprised to see my numbers stay the same and even drop slightly since November and December of last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I trust that they know what they're doing, and it just needs more time. I hope that more time is a few more months and not not a few more years, because I can't sustain at this rate for too long.
Right. For sure.
I know it's a long-term play, but something sometime within by the end of the summer, things definitely need to start picking up.
Yeah. Well, hello, Jeff here. My team and I put out a weekly newsletter designed for family law practitioners to help you grow and build your practice. So if you go to my website at jsterlinghughes.com, that's Hughes, that's jsterlinghughes.com, and subscribe, it would mean the world to me. And what I will do for you there is I will send you weekly content to help you build and grow your practice, as well as news and developments in the greater world of family law. Thank you, and back to the show. Do you recall when you opened your Massapequa map listing, how long it took for that to get to the top?
To get to the top, yeah, it was quick. I would say 2 months.
Yeah.
I think that there was another lawyer that had like 12 reviews or something like that.
Yeah. What's the competitive landscape look like in Melville?
A lot higher.
Okay.
There's, again, because it's on, right off the 2 main highways. So Long Island basically has 3 highways, and 2 of them kind of intersect, like right where you hit Melville. And there's a lot of commercial real estate around there, and it's right on the border of Nassau and Suffolk counties. So I'm in Suffolk, but like across the street is Nassau County. So it is I don't know, it's a competitive spot to be. There's a lot of other attorneys. There are a handful that have hundreds of reviews. So gonna take that was some concern I had with opening an office in Melville, which, again, long term, I think it's a good place to be, because it's convenient. It's in high income areas, but from a shorter term play, I was concerned, like, how am I going to be competing with these people in 3 to 6 months? I just don't see it.
Yeah. Well, I, we're going to watch this right over the next 3 months. So
Yep.
it needs
Yeah.
to keep going up to the right.
Yep.
So you also had a vacation last month. That's hard for a sole practitioner to do. How'd you manage that?
It was very hard. So I'm paying that price now. The work doesn't go away when you go on vacation. Just it just kind of builds up.
Yeah.
So
Did
yeah, it
it
was.
when you
You know,
were in your hotel room with your little kids running around? Did you have your laptop out? And were you doing work?
I took some phone calls. I did.
Okay.
I think I took my computer. Had to take my computer out once.
Okay.
I
Well, that's
did
good.
do some like
It's more
existing
discipline than I
tasks.
could have
Yeah.
managed.
So one work. One concern I had when going on vacation was how to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Because having again going back a month, expecting things to start, really start picking up was, do I need to, hire an intake company or something, even just temporarily while I'm gone, because I don't want to be missing, tons of calls while I'm gone. Uh, Both, I'd say, luckily for my kids, but unlucky for me. I think I got two phone calls that whole week that I was gone. So yeah, long term, obviously that's terrible, but it did it did allow me to
Yeah.
enjoy my vacation a bit. And then I came back and I had, so let's see, I came home April 28th, and I had my first day of trial. No, sorry, I came back May 3rd, and I had my first day of trial May 7th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I
Your
basically
first trial.
landed on a Friday night, and the trial started Wednesday morning. So I
Okay.
essentially went, you know, worked that whole Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
which is why you see that a little bit of that jump in the April numbers.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to steal May's thunder. So when we get together in June looking at May, we'll talk about that trial because I know that's your first one. So that's a big deal.
No, it's not actually. It is my second one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I had one back in October. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Did
my second,
you?
and I have two in May. The one of them, I have two trials in May. One of them is a support trial, so
Okay.
it's going to be half a day.
Yeah.
That's a quick and easy one. But this one I'm in now is a pretty big child custody trial. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's it.
Well, relative to April, anything else you want to talk about for April?
No, I don't think so. Just tracking those, keep tracking my numbers, and there's, I guess, trying to do what I can control, and letting hopefully letting Rocket Clicks and do their thing, and hope things pick up. Things I can control is keep doing good work and trying to solicit reviews, which I think I've been doing a good job at, and my sign up rate from consults is pretty good. Of course, I can always get better, and I'm going to work on that. Um, and then hopefully, I just need that call volume to, triple, quadruple, or even more. So just hoping that, again, I know these things take time, and I don't expect that to triple by June, but would definitely like to start seeing a steady increase at a minimum.
Yeah. Well, if you went into if Melville is a more competitive landscape and you went in there, and once you breach that top three, you'll probably see a pretty strong incremental jump in your calls if
I
it's that
agree. Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think it's I think it's going to take longer to get there than they think it is.
yeah, than
But
the 3 months.
yeah, then we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, all right. Good news. Top line revenue was good. Bad news, not as many signups as we'd like to see. So I'm just gonna watch it.
yeah, that's right. Hope
Yeah.
and again, yeah, not in panic mode yet, but I hope, very much hope we're not in the same place in 3 months, because I'm sure people have listened to episodes in the past, but I am, the sole income earner in my house. My wife's a stay-at-home mom. I have two young
Yeah.
kids, 2 and 3. We definitely do not live in a cheap area, so it is. It's been hard work. Living on
Mhm.
the income that we're getting, and 13,000 back in November when my expenses were like $1,000 a month would have been pretty nice, but
Mhm.
now I'm spending close to 7,000 a month between
Yeah.
marketing and my having two separate offices and all that. So
It's a big commitment.
that 13,000 disappears pretty quick,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
does.
pre-tax money. So yeah,
Well, I
definitely.
appreciate your candor talking about this because you're expressing and sharing what it's like to start your practice and go through the ups and downs of starting, especially this first year. You're only 9 months in, and you're feeling the pain.
I am, yeah. It is definitely harder than I expected.
Yeah.
But,
All right, Tom. Thanks. We'll see you again in May, or excuse me, in June to look at May,
yep.
and hopefully have some strong signups for this month.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Talk to you
All
soon.
right. You take care.